possibility of being able to learn in a way that best suits you is one of the more interesting things about education. Some people are better hands-on, and others are better visually. Another method of learning is bilingual programs. The idea of bilingual education has always fascinated me, and in all my research, California's Proposition 227 was mentioned. Therefore, my research question became focused on what are some of the difficulties when it comes to the acceptance of bilingual education in the public school system, and how has Proposition 227 affected it? To start off, Proposition 227 was written by Ron Unz and passed as a law in California in 1998, which made English immersion mandatory in public schools, effectively giving students only a sink or swim option. The purpose of this proposition was to help LEP, or limited English proficient students, in learning English. They tested this by analyzing the scores of the STAR test, a standardized test which checks students' reading, writing, math, science, and history level of comprehension. The returned standardized test scores showed an increase after the first 2 years of this proposition being implemented, 9 points in reading and 14 in math. Obviously, with these scores, the implementation of Proposition 227 was best for the students, right? And the parents supported this too? According to misrepresentative polls, yes. The term misrepresentative is used in the sense that there had been a supposed strong support by Latinos for this proposition based on surveys, but exit poll data said the opposite, creating a confusion about what was actually the general consensus. Word choice plays a key role in how people answered, so there's still a debate about whether or not the initial polling data was skewed based on flawed polling questions. And many of those people who opposed the proposition did so with good reason. Because while the test scores and polling data showed numbers that made schools look better, there was something else entirely going on at the school level, specifically with the children and teachers. It was a well-meaning proposition, but the campaign for Proposition 227 was faced with a difficult tension between nativist anti-immigrant appeals that could alienate Latinos and pro-Latino culture identification that could alienate native English-speaking conservatives. It created a larger rift between native and non-native English speakers and furthered the divide between how well these children were learning in schools. These kids who had been taking bilingual classes were now being told that they had to be put into a classroom with children who were already further ahead than they were in their English language knowledge, and they were expected to be able to catch up almost immediately. It was forced assimilation with no buffers for them to rely on, expecting them to dive in headfirst like when you first ride a bike. Except even bikes have training wheels, and who was teaching them and helping these children learn the language? It definitely wasn't bilingual educators who actually knew what these children needed and were prepared to advocate for them. Teachers of color know how to teach bilingual students in the way they need to be taught because they have more of a knowledge of the students' language and cultures, which is incredibly important when it comes to educating minority students. They understand that some children are not able to express themselves in only English, and so require some bilingual education for them to be at the same level as their English-speaking peers. Recently, Proposition 58 was passed, allowing for bilingual education to once again be instated in the public school system. But it includes the small caveat that these students have to be proficient in English. Professor Ilana Umansky of the University of Oregon states that although it might take longer for students to reach English proficiency in multilingual programs, most students reach that goal. We are really a diverse state now, and we are participating in a worldwide economy. For our students to only know one language puts them at a disadvantage, and the research bears that out. Therefore, allowing children to grow up learning in an environment that does not limit the way they express themselves or scold them for how they learn is much more productive